So, about 5 months ago, I made a video where I actually talked about the possibility of the Marvel Spider-Man games and Insomniac actually taking, the throne or the crown when it comes to making superhero games. And, at that time, we had seen the showcase for Marvel Spider-Man 2. It was undoubtedly a very strong one. In fact, that video is quite interesting because the title of the video is saying Spider-Man has seized the throne from the Arkham games. Now, this was basically what we had seen. Insomniac had dropped Miles Morales, they dropped the Spider-Man 2018 game. And looking forward to this Spider-Man 2 game, I really wanted to see how they were going to go ahead and close the trilogy. Now, the real, question here is, what are the circumstances and how have things panned out now that we've come to look at a retrospective of everything? Well, an audience member here watched the video and they left a comment which actually brought me to circle back to this whole idea. So shout out to you, Tumbleweed 8122, and Tumbleweed says, coming back to this after playing both games, and before I say anything, Spider-Man 2 was a phenomenal game. Some of the best boss fights and one of the best stories I've ever seen, but I think it just falls short to Arkham Knight. Don't get me wrong, both games were good, but the AI and world and Arkham was incredible, along with the combat, stealth, and story. It was close, but Arkham has my win. And I think I agree with this sentiment because, to be very honest, yes, I am a Batman fan, so are you going to get objectivity from me as a whole? Possibly not, but I will try my best to, and I've always tried my best to be fair with the Spider-Man games. And the reason we're saying this and coming to this is because a lot of what we got to see with the story and a lot of what we got to see with the progression and the way the characters were handled really did cause, in my opinion, a weird ruckus. Now, what's crazy, though, is even in Arkham Knight, when they introduced the so-called new villain character called the Arkham Knight that Rocksteady kind of claimed, and then it ended up being Jason Todd, that was a big, huge contention within the community because everyone was like, man, they lied and said they were revealing a new character. They should have just said that. Many others said the story in the Arkham Knight games weren't so good, but in reality, when you look at the Nightfall Protocol being the conclusion of everything, I thought it was a really strong and very solid story beat that they put in that game. However, with Spider-Man and the way the game was handled, especially when you throw in Miles Morales and Mary J. Watson into the whole mix, it seems like the story just gave the fans a lot of mixed message and a lot seemed to be missing and was left to be desired overall. And this is, in my opinion, where I think that the Arkham games just maybe skillfully and tactfully comes in and edges out all of the Spider-Man games so far. Now, this Tumbleweed's comment is very careful to also highlight that the Spider-Man games are phenomenal. Spider-Man 2 is a great game, but the Arkham games have something that I think is just, unique. Now, it's a combination of different things, and some of them, you have to also go with the fact that you get to see Batman's story unfold in Arkham Asylum to Arkham City to Arkham Knight. Even when you throw in Arkham Origins, the character is just bolstered with a prologue, a prequel, sequel, and sequel. So they have been successful in telling a huge chunk of the story of the character, even though it took two studios to kind of pull it off. And a disjointed, Arkham Origins that is very loved by a lot of people, but it seems like Warner Bros. Doesn't seem to want to acknowledge to go ahead and get it done. And even at the end of the day, with the way Arkham Knight kind of brought a very polished world, good combat mechanics, even at that time, delivering that game in 2015, meaning that game had already been in development even quite earlier, that already showed that there was a lot of quality. And even the Insomniac Spider-Man game would probably not be a thing if the Arkham games were not there to inspire it, according to Brian Intihar. And then when you look at, say, review scores, Arkham City still sits as the highest rated superhero game that we have seen so far. And it seems like the Spider-Man game didn't even get it. In fact, the Spider-Man game's ranking even went, was under, fire, was under a microscope, not because it was anything necessarily a problem, but just the fact that reviewers gave it critical acclaim when it had bugs on there. So that was also another problem that we got to see. So a lot had tainted, the game's reputation, and that's just on a technical side, because again, if we actually consider, Arkham Knight had a very huge technical issue in the PC launch of that game, and that actually cost it a lot in terms of reviews and so on and so forth. But Spider-Man 2 did not seem to actually get that treatment. You can call it what you want, call it Xbox tax, or just call it maybe the fact that people just prefer to hail the Spider-Man games more, or whatever it is. But there are just some other things that I think, the Spider-Man game probably missed out on. Another part too was the controversy with the game director pretty much trying to tell a story about two Spider-Mans. This is Brian Intihar, and then going ahead to say they wanted, a third wheel character to be somewhat of a superhero in that context, and that's Mary Jane. I don't care if she's, I don't give a blank. I don't care if she's, OP. And that's pretty much what he came up with as his conclusion. So now, not only has he pretty much done something like that, he's also kind of eroded a little bit of confidence and trust with those who may want to actually look towards that Wolverine game. And I think I'm one of those because I'm a huge Wolverine fan. I like the character even more than I do Peter Parker. But hearing the way he actually addresses and treats, the concern from some of the audience members about how he handles Miles and Mary J. Watson, a lot of people seeing how this is going to be basically set in the same universe are probably not confident with his ability to stay very true to what we think should have been the source material in that regard. So I don't really know how much respect Logan is going to be getting, and so we'll see how that all comes into place at the end of the day. But I thought I'd make this video. I thought it was an interesting conversation. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I don't think that the Spider-Man games have been able to edge out the Arkham games. I think the Arkham games just have something so special overall. If you've played them, even if you're not a Batman fan, you cannot, in a sense, even minimize how good they are and how much they've actually done in regard to just a whole bunch of stuff. But I'll talk to you guys in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.